Alrighty, guys. Well, let's go ahead and get underway. Don't want to hold Joe up. I know we got a lot of crazy stuff to get done for Thanksgiving. So, quick introduction. My name is Joseph Berry. I work for Palmetto Pride. I am the Keep South Carolina Beautiful affiliate service manager, but I also work with our special projects manager. So that means I kind of do it I like to say I'm the Swiss Army knife of Palmetto Pride. We're a pretty small operation. However, we stay busy and stay crazy, and I'm kind of the catch-all for that. Part of that also is I oversee the Adopt a Highway partnership. So my contact information is there as well. I'll throw this slide kind of back up at the end too, so you don't have to worry about it right now. Most of y'all should have my email address. I contacted a lot of y'all through email, and then the office number is just our generic Palmetto Pride office number. Like I said, we're a pretty small operation, so we're pretty easy to get a hold of. Call the office and just ask to speak to one of the guys. It's going to be one of two people probably at any time. So I do have a little bit of experience with Adopt a Highway. Before I came to Palmetto Pride, I worked with Keep Newberry County Beautiful. We worked with the South Carolina DOT in Newberry County to do Adopt a Highway. So I've been with them working around this program since about 2018. So I'm excited to kind of step into this role and help out a lot more too. So agenda-wise, it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to go over the program overview of what Adopt a Highway is, what we're doing, the statewide partnership overview, so everyone can kind of understand what the different roles of the statewide organization are doing. Talking a little bit about some of the local structures that we've seen in some of the county and regional offices, and then talking about some of the resource updates that we're going to be rolling out here in the next couple really after this presentation, and then some reporting dates because everyone likes reporting dates. So let's jump into it. Adopt a Highway, as most of y'all might know or may not know, was started in South Carolina in 1987 by SCDOT based around Beaufort County. It was in 2012, South Carolina DOT kind of signed an agreement with Palmetto Pride where we came in and assist with the managing of the program. It's a partnership between the two of us. For anybody that doesn't know, groups adopt 2 miles of road, of state maintained road for 2 years, cleaning up 4 times a year. So 8 cleanups, and then they renew their contract. In 2021, our groups adopted around 10% of SCDOT public roads. So not too shabby. And then 17% increase in the pounds of litter picked up from 2020 to 2021. So we did do some good work there, guys, to come together. So kind of give you an overview of what the different roles and who does what on the state level, outside of the county level. Adopt a Highway is kind of a 3-tier partnership. So it goes really simply. There's SCDOT. They started the program. This is, we work on their roads. This is kind of their baby. But they brought in a partner to help with that, and that's Palmetto Pride. So we come in and help out. Like I said, we come in and try and assist with the program as much as possible to really help this program grow and be effective. But to make it more effective, we have to have our volunteers, and so all those kind of 3 different circles all come together and create the Adopt a Highway program. I kind of thought out this Venn diagram a little bit more at one point about how the other circles overlap, and I'm not really sure how volunteers and SCDOT overlap outside of just complaining about the roadways. If y'all have any other ideas, throw them in the chat. I'd love to know how volunteers help DOT out more. So let's talk about a little bit about what those different partners do. So SCDOT on the state level, obviously they approve all the adoptable roads. Y'all maintain the roads, so y'all have to be the ones to approve them. Y'all also SCDOT provides the bags and the vests for other groups throughout the state. They also have agreed to pick up all the bags and then install and maintain all the signage, because I could probably put a sign up, but it would take me about 2 days to do it, and I'd probably put it on someone's private property and have to redo it again. So y'all are DOT is much more available and capable of doing that. But Palmetto Pride, what we do, we handle the communication of the program. We help market that Adopt a Highway program to different groups and different vendors, really kind of grow the program to make it more effective. We also can provide gloves and grabbers to the coordinators. Now, I do want to say to the coordinators, not to the groups, just because the way our inventory works is not, we can't effectively do it to every group, but we can do it, help the coordinators out. And then we also help work to recruit more groups. And really that's just providing support back to the county level, because everything still has to go through the county SCDOT offices. And then our volunteers, on the very basic level, they attend the safety trainings, they complete the litter pickups, and then big thing, they report their cleanup efforts. If they don't report it, then we don't know they did it. And that's just the way it works. Some volunteers don't understand that. And, it's kind of our job is to work through that program of what that looks like. Excuse me. So let's talk a little bit about some of the local design structures, and how we've seen DOT offices work in the past couple of years and change to really adapt and help this program flourish. There's kind of 3 different tiers of systems. 2 of them are very similar, one of them, and none of them are wrong or right. It's really, we've learned, there's not a cookie cutter solution to this, but there are some best practices and some ways to make this work more effectively. So what we'll do is the first one is adopt a highways SCDOT housed. There are a few counties that, they do it all. They do everything dealing with DOT except for picking up the litter and reporting it. That includes approving the roads, providing and distributing the supplies, doing the safety trainings, recruiting and processing the volunteers, scheduling the pickups, collecting the bags, and then also installing and maintaining those signs. So with this, SCDOT has a firm understanding of what's going on the county level, especially with every group, but it's a commitment of, at least a staff member, to be committed to this program. But what it does is it takes out another stakeholder. It makes it simplified. It's all streamlined. It's through one program. However, we've noticed in the past few years that they've actually transitioned somewhat to another model. And we'll talk a little bit about those. So the next model is the outside housed adopt a highway. That's basically where SCDOT says, you know what, we can only do the bare minimum of what we're capable of doing, but we have someone that's willing to take on the other roles. So the other roles that they can do is distribute the supplies, do the safety trainings, recruit the volunteers, and schedule those pickups. At the bare minimum, though, like we said before, SCDOT offices still need to approve the roads, provide the supplies, collect the bags, and install and maintain those signs. Everything else they can find someone else to do, whether that be an affiliate from Keep America Beautiful, whether that's a local government, whether that's just a gung-ho volunteer that wants to make sure this program's alive and well in their community. Either way, those stakeholders are going to, they're going to take on all that other responsibility and work with DOT to make sure they're communicated. Hey, we have bags here that need to be picked up. Hey, I have this group that needs some vests or some bags. Can you help them? Or this group said that their sign got knocked down. Can you go, make sure it's put back up? Those kind of things. Those are the conversations that are had between that kind of outside housed one. The next option is very similar to the outside housed one. However, it's the hybrid option. What that does is it's a communication. It's similar to finding a third party that's going to be able to help support the program, but it's not as defined roles as who's going to do what. So the blending of who's doing what can kind of take a second, and they can figure out, hey, this was going to work for our staffing issue, where we're at. So that basically the same tasks, but DOT and the other stakeholders are going to figure out who's doing what. That means the DOT might actually be the ones scheduled the pickups, but they're going to give all the supplies to another stakeholder to hold on to and distribute. So all those kind of things still kind of work out. At the end of the day, though, the volunteers, we want to make it as simple as for them, and that's their role is to pick up the bags of litter and then report the cleanups to whoever. So we've seen kind of a general trend of some of our offices around the county, around the state, go towards this hybrid option where they're working more closely together. Just because Adopt a Highway can be, if it's run well and run really great, it can grow very fast and it can be a lot to handle. And so having kind of 2 or 3 heads at the table and being able to attack this problem of litter in your counties, this can be a really good solution. That's where Palmetto Pride can also come in and help you find that stakeholder. If you're an SCDOT, office, and you're like, we just can't deal with this right now, Palmetto Pride can come in and try and help you find another, a hybrid solution or another stakeholder in that community to be able to say, here's, hey, would you mind helping DOT out with this? So let's talk a little bit about some of the local structure designs. So some interesting practices that are, worth talking about, and there's pros and cons to everything here. And I'm not saying, this isn't me saying this is how you should run this, but I'm saying this is what we've seen other counties do that have worked really well for them. The first one being pre-approving the roads. I have groups that email me or our office all the time, or call our office and say, hey, we want to do Adopt a Highway. Do you have any roads that, we can adopt? And I sadly say that, sorry, I'm sitting in Columbia. I don't know what roads are adoptable in Lancaster County. I can't tell you where you're located or what you're doing. But if you, as a county, already have a list of pre-approved roads of like, hey, these are the state maintained roads that probably need attention and should be adoptable and are safe, that makes that selection process go really quickly. You save a few weeks of heartache and headache trying to get someone to sign up to be an Adopt a Highway group. I think Richland and Lexington do a good job of this with Keep the Midlands Beautiful. They're good. They've kind of gone ahead and pre-approved their roads and said, these are the roads that we can do. Now, a caveat to that is some groups want to do the road that's right in front of their business, or do something around their location, or do around their church. And that might not be already pre-approved, and it might meet all the qualifications to be a state maintained road that's safe to do it on. So, having that flexibility and also, not being as rigid means that this can work as well. The next interesting practice is setting specific dates or pickups. I know some of our counties do this, and they say all the Adopt a Highway groups are going to go out on these 4 days of the year, and these are the makeup days if you can't make it. That works really well, and it helps not necessarily waste all the time and effort on SCDOT's part of picking up the bags and riding around the county to make sure everything's done. But some of our groups can't make that work, can't make those dates work, have conflicts with scheduling. So the other option is allowing the groups to pick up on their own schedule. Now, those are kind of 2 different ends of the spectrum. And so, maybe it's going to be up to y'all's county and y'all's agreement on what y'all are going to do either way, kind of where you're going to land on that. The next interesting practice we've seen some of our groups do is quarterly safety training. So not just doing annual safety training, but quarterly. That way they can continue to roll new groups in and do some new activities, get new groups to be doing pickups constantly and growing the program. Because really what we found, and we don't have the complete data to back it up, but it is kind of it's kind of makes sense, is that you can say, we're going to do, as a group says, hey, we want to sign up, they're going to have a lot of steam and they're going to go really quickly. Sometimes they might flounder out even before their contract ends. So if you can continue to grow it, you're going to continue to build the steam within the program. All righty. Let's talk a little bit about some of those resource updates though as well. So Palmetto Pride, part of what we're doing this year is providing some of the resources to this program on what our side involves. And so first thing up is the safety training video. I think in 2020, we rolled out a new safety training video. It's on our YouTube channel. You can find it, the link's there, and I'll share these slides with y'all so y'all have access to all the stuff, links, but the safety training video is there. It can be supplemental to your groups. And we also we're working on maybe doing a possible like certification quiz, like just to make sure they watch the video and know what's happening. The next other resource we're working on updating is the online reporting form. So currently on our website, we have a form on our online with the Adopt a Highway cleanup form. A group can go in, say, hey, we cleaned up this much, and report what they've done. That gets sent to us, and then we'll send it off to whoever our contact is in each county. We're working on a system also to kind of streamline that and make it a little bit more go quickly get it to you. I know right now we have some backlogs of counties that need to be have pickups and need to be reported, because I know some counties don't even go out and pick up until they get a report from the group. So we're working on streamlining that, but we do have an online reporting form. Now, this is also kind of this is to supplement the paper forms and the postcards that we used to send out to each group. We just, found that at the end of the day, we were spending a lot of money on our postage to try and get groups to turn in cards that weren't working. So if we could direct them towards our online reporting form, it could take a second, and it's pretty quick, easy. I mean, it asks them all the same basic questions that is on the reporting form, but it's online, and they can do it from their phone. They can do it from their desktop. They can do it wherever. The next new program or resource we rolled out is the new group leader guideline. So that is a new document that is meant to simplify kind of what it takes to run an Adopt a Highway group on the group leader side. So not necessarily our side, not necessarily y'all's side, but kind of the volunteer side. That one person that's going to be the leader of that volunteer group. And so we've updated that. We're working on also boiling it down into a one-pager to be able to share quickly, but this one currently is about 4 pages long. It talks about how to get started, the agreement forms you need to fill out, the rules, and the resources. And then lastly, we have supply requests. So we have, Palmetto Pride provides supply requests to volunteer groups throughout the state, but we also can work with you to do the supply requests for cleanup supplies for Adopt a Highway. Now, again, that's with the caveat that DOT is supposed to provide the Adopt a Highway bags and Adopt a Highway vests. Now, what we can do, that means we can typically fill out requests for grabbers and gloves. Those are kind of the 2 remaining items that you need to do a really good cleanup. I will say the grabbers that we'll provide are not the nice fancy grabbers. They're the cheap grabbers, and that's just because economics, the amount we order, and the supplies we have, we could probably burn a whole position salary on upgrading our grabbers. So it just makes sense for what we use, that we have the cheap grabbers. So if you have groups that are going to be more dedicated to picking up every time, it might be more worth them investing themselves into their own grabbers. I do ask that if you do a supply request, that it comes from the county or the coordinator level, not necessarily the group level. We would like to not have to fill out supply requests for each of your individual groups. If we could just do maybe one decent size, I'm not saying large size, but decent size order to the counties, we can make that work. We're happy to help support it, but we also provide these supplies to other cleanup efforts throughout the state as well that aren't necessarily Adopt a Highway. We also have some new resource stuff on the way. That's going to include the new media kits. So the biggest thing there is we're going to provide some material and copy for y'all to be able to promote the Adopt a Highway program a little bit more effectively and throughout the state. So that includes social media materials, poster materials, press releases, advertisement copies for recruitment stuff, and then Adopt a Highway one-pagers. So we're work with all of you guys to make sure that gets in y'all's hands and y'all can use it however y'all like. And if there's any other kind of media resource y'all would like to help promote that program, by all means, let us know and we can work on it in-house. We have a pretty quick turnaround. We can try and get you anything you want, and we'll try and make it as effective as possible. So those kind of the resources we're at Palmetto Pride are working to provide to that Adopt a Highway program. Up next, the last thing is we're going to talk about reporting deadline. For y'all that have never done reporting deadlines for Adopt a Highway, it's pretty simple. The deadline for this for the 2020 year is going to be February 10th, 2023. I'll send an email at the end of either at the end of December or the beginning of January with the form saying, please fill out Charles' status report form. In that form, it's going to ask who's going to be in charge, who's going to be the person to talk to. How many pounds of litter have y'all removed? It is worth noting that if you're a person that counts, if you're a group that counts bags instead of poundage, we usually use about 15 pounds per bag, is what our average usually is. We also ask how many miles have you adopted as your county, how many groups participated, how many volunteers participated, the number of cleanups y'all held. If it was, try and get it as accurate of a number of that as possible. Number of new groups you've added this year, and then the number of groups you should drop. And the reason I wanted to go ahead and do this kind of now before November is that, if y'all don't have this information, you can go ahead and be working to get it. And again, the deadline on that is February 10th of next year. So if you have any questions or need anything, let me know, but I'll be giving you all this information. I'll be sending out this form, like I said, at the end of December, beginning of January for you all to be able to fill out. And it'll be pretty fillable. So with that said, any other questions or follow-up information you might have or need, there's my contact information again. My name is Joseph Berry. I'm happy to help y'all. Adopt a Highway has been a fun program to work with in the past, and I've enjoyed it. So if anything I can do to help this program grow and be successful, please let me know. But at that point, I will be quiet and I'll look at the questions in the chat. For those asking, I will send a copy of this presentation to everyone that's attending the meeting or registered on the Eventbrite. You'll get a copy of that hopefully by the end of the day, and along with some of these things. Signs. We do have some of the someone asked about signs that we provide. We have some please don't litter signs that some of our groups have been putting out. The caveat to those signs are we typically only give a group 1 or 2 signs per group. And because of the shipping cost, we usually either try and batch it out or try and get someone to come up and pick those up from our office. Just because those can be a little bit more bulky and hard to ship. The media kits will go out. They'll be electronic, so they'll be through email, and then we're going to finalize some of the stuff now within the next week or so, and then turn them over, hopefully get them out. Now that everyone's registered through the Eventbrite stuff, you'll get that information first, and then any coordinators that didn't register, didn't have any information, they'll just have to ask for it. All right. Do we have an idea if Adopt a Highway bags and Palmetto Pride bags are made of virgin material or recycled material? That I'm not sure, but I can try and get you an answer for that. I'll make a note here. And I will do an answer for that, Amber. All right. Local branch festival maintains program unless or how can keep Lancaster County beautiful take over? Mandy, that question is really going to be a matter of talking with SCDOT, and seeing what's going to be best for y'all's county. Sometimes it's going to be as simple as they just turn it over and say, here you go. Or sometimes sitting down saying, what are y'all's gonna do? What do y'all do? The signs that we have provided are not the large orange signs. They're just a standard kind of political sign that, every corrugated cardboard that everyone you see all throughout the counties this year, especially since an election year, but they're just this plain white step-in signs that say, please don't litter. I will email you a copy of the new leaders guide as well. The forwarding of the report cards is actually going through. We're working through our email system. It comes to my email right now, but I think we're trying to set it up to where we don't have to necessarily automatically forward it. So there we are a little backlog. We'll try and clear that out throughout the end of the week as well. I understand the concern with the volunteers submitting stuff online. And we have a few of the cards, but we can't provide cards to every group in the state and every group in your county. If you send me an email with the information of how many cards you're looking to get, we can work through that and try and provide those for you. We can't provide them for every group and we can't provide them for every cleanup, but we can, if you have one or two stubborn groups that, can't use a laptop or a phone, then we can work through that and try and get them the classic cards as well. Or we can give you the file to print them off yourself and send them to them. Reading some of the more questions. Long grass is an issue from the summer. Too long for safety, and some groups will not walk in knee-deep grass. Any thoughts? I mean, that comes down to scheduling issues. Then maybe they need to schedule their pickups a little bit more later in the year, or earlier in the year to make sure the litter's not in the tall grass, and then come back when the grass dies off and pick it up if it did get caught in there. Would be my suggestion on that. But I'm hesitant to say we need to work on mowing the grass, because we all know that when a lawnmower runs over litter, you don't just have one piece of litter, now you have a million pieces of litter. And so it may be just being proactive before the grass gets too high, and then maybe after it dies off. We do have some grabbers in our inventory now. We just got a few, I think last week. If you complete the online request form, we can try and gauge the number of grabbers you need versus what our inventory says, and then we can work with you to try and pick some up. Touching back on the scheduling of grass and confetti and mowing with DOT, it really boils down to a matter of talking with DOT, talking with their and a lot of their mowing is done through contract work, so they don't necessarily even know when they're going to happen. They just know that it's going to happen at a certain time, or around a certain time. So just being more communicative with them and try and get them on the same schedule and understanding the issues they have. That's really the only real solution that we have right now. We don't have a full statewide database of who's mowing what lane when, unfortunately, or even a countywide. Yeah, and going back to the reporting cards, like I said, some of our groups like to have the physical, tangible ones, and we can provide some of those, or at least provide you the template to make your own. However, we provide the online one just as a resource to be quick, easy, and concise with it. Not saying we're going to transition to only online reporting anytime soon. That's not in the works, but we do want to, for the groups that can do that and will do that, that's always a great option. I can work with you, Keith Midlands. I believe that's Ebony, or I'm not sure, but I can work with you on the Adopt a Highway programs affiliates that work with them. I don't think it's a growing list. Some of the counties are again working through that hybrid system, and that goes back to the DOT people. If y'all have a Keep South Carolina Beautiful affiliate or a Keep America Beautiful affiliate in your county, they're a great resource. They work with volunteers throughout the year to do litter cleanup, and so they're a great resource. If you're looking at switching to a hybrid, or just looking to engage more people into your Adopt a Highway program, we have, I think, close to 36 affiliates throughout the state. So not every county has one, but we're working towards just providing those resources. And Keep South Carolina Beautiful, housed within Palmetto Pride, can also work with them. To answer the questions about the responsibility, I'm not quite sure the responsibility of what responsibilities you're asking about. As far as I'm assuming that it's pickup. It would for litter. It would still go if it's obstructing the roadway and it's an issue, and it would go to SCDOT is my understanding. They are responsible for their roadways, and then the Adopt a Highway program is what helps supplement, make it a little bit easier for them to maintain that. I will say a lot of the counties are not using prisoners to clean up roads. Now that could have changed because we did just have an election year, so a lot of our sheriffs and mayors and whoever like to get people out on the roadways and make them look nice, especially during these election years. But as we kind of go forward, right now as it sits, a lot of our direct Department of Corrections and county jails are not using prisoners for their cleanups. With the Orangeburg County DOT stuff, I would direct you to, we have an affiliate, and I'm not saying that they'd be willing to take it on, but we do have an affiliate in that area with Keep Orangeburg County Beautiful. It's something to talk with them about and have that conversation and see if they can help you. And it might just be going to that hybrid solution of finding out who can do what. So some counties do have inmates work. Yeah, like I said, it's completely possible. I'm not well versed on every county pickup crews and who's doing what every time, because it does it's a fluid and changing solution. But there are crews that do that, and we're also I'll do a shameless plug here. One of PalmettoPride's programs that we've worked with the past couple of years is working with litter pickup crews that are dedicated pickup crews, housed within typically the county level, and they're people that just literally their job is to go pick up the litter, and we've helped support some of those programs. So if that's something you think y'all might be interested in, let us know. Alrighty, guys. So Marlo, I will say litter control officer. So you're right, Charleston County doesn't have one of those. We are in talks with the zoning commission, I believe, at the county level. We just had a meeting with them. They're talking, a little bit about some of the litter stuff. Now, I doubt they'll be full-on litter control officers, but they talked about that, and then them and then the environmental enforcement, I think, is another agency they work with. And so those two, hopefully we can get some traction there, but that's a little bit outside of the scope of Adopt a Highway stuff too. So I don't want to bore everyone with the minutia of that, but that is, something we also work with at Palmetto Pride, is working with enforcement agencies to enforce the litter laws that are in place to keep stuff off. So. Alrighty, guys. Well, any more questions or concerns about the Adopt a Highway program going forward? I hope everyone kind of is on the same page as far as what to expect, who's doing what at any given time. If y'all have any questions or need any, concerns or need anything, let me know. I'm here to help. Adopt a Highway is one of my favorite programs, because it really does help get local citizens engaged in their community. And it's one of the programs that I think people recognize the easiest too. Anytime someone emails me about wanting to help out, it's always, hey, I want to adopt a highway. And even when I tell them that, like, okay, well, here's the agreement, and they're like, oh, maybe I don't want to adopt it. We can provide some other options for them to do some cleanups, but that Adopt a Highway stuff is really where it's at. And we appreciate all the work that y'all have done towards that, and the work to make this program build itself up and make it, successful for what it is. Like I said, we saw an increase of the amount of litter we picked up last year, which is great. And we appreciate everything y'all done through that. But if y'all have any other questions, like I said, I was going to be pretty quick and easy about this. I think we're at about 39 minutes long, so I'm not going to hold y'all for the full hour unless y'all just want to hang out with me forever. But if y'all need anything or need anybody, I appreciate it. And if y'all have any other questions or anything, feel free to contact me through email or through the phone. I'll try and work with you as much as I possibly can.